give us some of those qualifications and what he's currently doing and what he hopes to do. All right, go ahead, JR.
Good evening, my relatives. My name is Winfield JR Rondell. I am the council representative from the Haipa Oyate. For me, this is 10 years being in politics. Prior to this, I worked in special education at Teoshpazina Tribal School as a para-educator. Currently, we are working on some of our COVID response and trying to utilize our CARES funding to the fullest so that we don't have to turn anything back. Okay.
Is that it?
Anything else?
No, maybe some of what you're currently doing or any projects you're working on or.
Right. We are currently working on a quarantine isolation facility out by our IHS. We are also looking into a food pantry. And we are also working with our tribal police for a jail, which we currently don't have. Let's see, those are the projects we have going. The jail we've been working on before COVID hit, but we're working with the BIA, and it's what I'm seeing, it's really difficult working with them.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and start with some of these questions, if you don't mind. And let's see, the first one, the one that I like right away is, where do you stand on off-reservation voting?
I support that. I have supported that in the past. The first time this came up, I supported it. And this last time when it came up, I followed the wishes of my district, and they did not support it.
All right. Okay. How about how do you feel about mail-in ballots?
Yes, I don't see why not. I really haven't. I couldn't see why you wouldn't be allowed to mail in a ballot. So I'm in support of that. The more people voting in, then we could the more voices we could hear and help guide us on the things we're dealing with.
Thank you. How about the petition approach? We've had a series of petitions that a lot of us have attempted to sign. We don't quite have enough of them right now, but we have some petitions we're trying to get seen. What do you think of that approach?
Yeah, it works. It's been used in our past, so if individuals see something that isn't right, that's their right to be able to take that approach.
Great. Now, if this approach were to fail, what would you suggest that we do as 1,200 off-res members?
Geez, I know it would be kind of taxing on some of the members, but to try to get home to vote, I think
Right.
that would be the best thing, if it could happen.
Right.
I mean, I know some of our members live far, and that's financially hard on a majority of our off-res people. But that would be the way I would say, if you can get back, that would be the way to help.
Right. That's it. I guess that's why mail-in ballots would be a really good thing to have, right?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And then that way we are not putting no financial burden on our members if they could mail it in.
Right. Right. Why do you think we don't have that right now in system? in place?
You know, I don't know if it was ever mentioned in the past or not. This might be something new for us because I don't remember hearing it, you know.
Mhm.
So this is something new,
Right.
something new.
Yeah. Mail-in ballot system has been around for many, many years, however. But
Yeah, but
yeah, I
sim-
was talking, right, and I was talking with somebody last week, and I can't, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. She was also running for a position as well, not tribal secretary. I think it was chairperson, and she was saying, sorry, he was saying that it was very difficult to get any kind of change in the Constitution or going because of quorum problems.
yes, yes, we never reached that percentage that we need. Uh, the closest we've came, I believe, 28 or 29% of the membership.
Wow.
We've never hit the 30 that we need. Got close, but we just never made it.
Wow, that's amazing that not that we need 30% because it's such a low number. You'd think it would be very easy to get,
Yeah.
but that it's amazing that it's so difficult that, almost like a diaspora. We're so we're all
Yeah.
spread out all over the country, a lot of us, and just and apparently there's not enough on res people.
Well, on res come, but not enough.
Not enough. Not
Enough
enough.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question. Let's go on to the next one. I put little stars next to the ones that I really liked. What's your vision and plans going forward to bring the tribe into self-sustainability?
Geez, I believe we need to get out of gaming and do other ventures. We need to do other ventures. I don't know if that has ever been tried in the past. I know we have looked at it, but the ventures that were looked at weren't what I believe we would have been a success at. You know, there's uh, and one of our downfalls I noticed is that we don't put the people that have the education to do these things for us. We do not put them in these positions. I don't know what it is. Are we jealous of somebody, you know, or what? But that's our downfall as a as tribe, as a tribe. We don't put those individuals in that could help us, you know, with these other programs besides gaming. But we need to venture off. We have Fargo. I always thought we could try something in Fargo, a business to help. You know, there's other things. Uh, right now, we are looking into hemp. Hemp is one of our ventures we're trying to do. I think right now we are currently 2 years ahead of the other tribes. Um, but that is one of our. We hope to help sustain us.
Great. Any other plans that you had for your candidacy?
You kind of broke up. Say that again.
Oh, sure. Did you have any other plans that you were that you or things that you were envisioning to do for the tribe as a secretary?
Well, hopefully provide more of the services we are now because we are growing, and I don't believe we are getting the funding that we need because we are growing, and that would be one of the areas I would look into. No matter grants, there's always grants. If we have to go and meet with DC people in order to get more funding, that's what we'll have to do.
Right.
But and then improve the programs that we got. We need to improve what we have.
Yes. Agreed. I agree. All right, let's go on. Here's another question. What is your opinion on racism?
All my life, I've been racist. I've been a victim of that. I can't
Right.
pass for anything else, so I know what that is. Even experience back here at home, with the white people. So I don't know what. Don't want it. Don't care for it. Don't need it. Whatever. I know what that is because I've experienced it.
I understand that. Thank you for your answer. Thanks for being honest about that. It's a hard one. That's just one of the questions that our constituency were asking. So I'm just,
Well, somebody out there
yeah,
must have experienced it like I have then to ask that.
exactly. Right, exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the top of them. One of the most popular questions, and people have said it in various forms, is about transparency. And we've been asking a lot of the candidates how they feel about transparency. And I'll read the question first. It goes, first, how will they get the tribal council, all tribal programs and directors to become compliant with transparency?
Um, that depends. From my experience in being in positions I've been in, that depends on the people that each district sends, like on council. I noticed when they go out and they promise this and that, and then when they get in their seat, just like the Washichu, man, those things go out the window. Even though they say transparency, I don't see it. And also in our programs, they need to, I don't know if they're taking the lead from council of not wanting to be transparent, or if that is an individual choice of that program, not to be that. But I've always supported to be transparent. So, but it's the individuals that we put in place. Either they're going to go with it or they're not. And then I've also noticed that you might get a few who are sitting on council want to, but there's never enough to make the vote. Never
Yeah,
enough to carry that.
yeah.
So that's one of our problems. And that's why I say it's the districts who they choose to send. Who they choose to send, they need to make better choice. Better choice.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to that transparency. Because those individuals sitting in those council seats, if they're saying transparency, well, when it comes up, that's what they'll do.
Right. Very good. I think one of the issues with transparency is communication. I think a lot of people tend to believe or believe that they're not being communicated to, and that people are not relaying messages about what's happening. Any idea why people have that impression? Does the tribal government, could they do a better job at communicating?
Oh yeah, because we have trouble between ourselves in the administration building and communicating. So yeah, I could see how that's a concern for our members, and that's we we are we are really poor for some reason. I don't know. And then getting the word out, or passing information along. I Everything that I get at council, I take to my district. Everything, and so I don't know how the others address that. My district meetings can go 5 hours if they let us, if we wouldn't need to get on to other things, just on what I take to them. But I communicate to them what is happening at the tribal level. So yes, we are poor on communication.
Okay. Nice. There's a second part of that question, and it says, and what steps would they take to make amendments to the Constitution and bylaws to ensure everyone complies rather than the do as I please mentality?
You're freezing, Jim.
Oh, okay. I'll do
I
it
hear you.
again. Yeah. So again, I'll say it again. And what steps would they take to make amendments to the Constitution and bylaws to ensure everyone complies rather than the do as I please mentality?
What do you mean? What do you mean applies?
Well, let's take the first part. Is that what steps would they take to make amendments to the Constitution?
On what part? On the communication?
Yeah, on the communication or to make changes
Eh,
to the Constitution in order to make actual change.
eh, Well, that goes back to the individuals that the district sends, the choices, the individuals that we send to sit on those council seats. When they campaign, they make the promises, and when they get into that seat, they change. They change. They don't go by what they say when they were out there campaigning, and yeah, I could do this, I could follow that. And that is what I've noticed. That is what I've noticed.
So that's something
From
you've witnessed, huh? That in some council people.
Yes, yes, they get on there and they're completely different. And so
Mm,
that's where all the things that we really need to happen at the tribe, that's where they're stopped or blocked.
mm,
So at our my I could I'll tell you this quick story. The elders were getting on me. I sit over the elder board as the ex officio for our tribal elderly. So I went to a meeting, and geez, they were chanze, they were pretty mad, and they were getting after me. So I was listening to them. They were getting after me. So I said, "Hey, wait now, wait. What do you got me for? I'm not the one who picked that councilman you sent. That's the one you picked to send, that you sent and voted for. He's on council. I didn't pick him. So that's the ones that we send from the districts to sit on there. So, everything goes back to that seat. Those ones that we send to sit there and represent us. Everything goes back to there. Once they get into that seat, there's a change. That's it, and then they're in there for 2 years. So,
okay.
but
Thanks for being so candid about that one. The next question: if the candidates believe in enforcing accountability, how can this be accomplished?
again, that goes back to the individuals that are being sent, that are being sent to represent the districts. If they're saying, "Well, I'll tell you everything," well, you'll know everything I know. Well, if they get in that position and they're not telling, well, that's that.
Hmm.
I mean, that's my observation. That's my observation, because I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen that happen. So I don't know. Like, I keep going back, Jim. It's the ones that we seat in them positions that have that authority to do that, accountability, transparency. They're preaching it out when they're running. Get in there and sit down. That's out the window. So that's where we need to make better choices of those individuals sitting there so that they would carry out those things. And that's where we're kind of falling short. We're kind of falling short.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So next question: should the drug testing policy for tribal employees be changed?
I don't think it should be changed. I think it can. Well, the only change I would say to it is do it more. Do it more, because we still have that problem here. We still
Yeah,
have that problem. So if there's change to it, do it more often and include more in that testing.
yeah. How what is the current policy? Is it like once a year or
Random. It's
oh, it's
random,
random?
and
Okay.
whenever it's called for by the tribal secretary. When the first year I sat on council, Jim, I was tested 8 times. Each
Wow.
program that I sat over as ex officio, when they had drug testing, I took it with them. Even though I already had it at this other board, I still took it.
Okay.
So it could include more.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. It's interesting that it's random. Okay. Next question. This one has to do with the child protection program. Is how will you address the current crisis that the Ayate have with the child protection program? Now, I'm not familiar with that program right now. So, is there a crisis? Is it in crisis, JR?
It's been in crisis, but what I have seen when we try to address those issues there, for some reason they get support so that we can't fix it. We can't fix it. I think that goes back to the buddy. The buddies sitting on council, or and then that program, they're friends with that manager, and she has the friend on council, and they've already made friends. So when issues come up, it just doesn't get addressed like it needs to. And the other thing is, here's what I've seen happen there. At one time, our qualifications, I believe, was either a bachelor's or a master's. Okay, and then administration changes, so they lower the qualifications to an individual with a GED, and that's how that they got in there. That's why that's in a crisis. We need the educated people in there, and at the tribe, it's hard for an educated person to get a job. Get a job. You think you would want them, but that's not the case. That's not the case. The elderly, the old Kushis, they say that if you have education, you're not going to get a job here, because they don't. Those ones that are sitting there, they don't want you to find out how wrong they've been doing that job all these years. An educated person, they say, is going to see that.
Oh, you
And
froze. Are you
so
there?
I believe what they say. Seen it. I've seen it. I've seen that. Or an educated guy. And what's bad, we tell them to go out and get your education and then come back and work for the tribe. And here that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So to me, that's the problem at the child protection. I don't know why they don't want to help, take care of the kids, but it's there. It's there. And then the interference comes from outside that program. You think you would want to bring everybody home. You think you'd want our kids placed in homes that don't have a sex offender in there, things like that. So that if that's what I would push for. I'd put somebody in there who's got the education to help us. not just giving a friend a job, or you owe somebody a favor, so you give them a job. That doesn't help the kids. It's the kids that are suffering out there in them homes that they shouldn't be in.
Okay.
So
There's a second part to that question.
okay.
And it says, will children in the CP system have your top priority to make sure all guidelines and procedures are followed with the ICWA?
Yes, yes, they will. And you watch this. If I make it in there and I start addressing that, you watch. There will be removal against me.
Hmm.
I know that. I know that.
Okay. All right.
You try to fix
Another,
it. That's what
right.
goes on.
There's another part of that. It goes, will you terminate uneducated, unqualified CP employees and conduct an investigation?
So you broke up, Jim.
Oh, sure.
You broke
Will you
up again.
terminate?
Can you?
Sure. Will you terminate uneducated, unqualified CP employees and conduct an investigation?
Sure, sure. Because that program has been like that for a long time with those same individuals in there, with those same people in there. Oh yeah, yeah, I would.
Yeah. It sounds like the person who wrote these questions thinks of the way about this program that you do, because they've made several some of the same notations about them having master's degrees, about hiring more educated employees. So that's interesting that I didn't even get to those parts, but you had already addressed them.
Oh, well, that's good. It's two of us thinking alike then.
Yeah, be interesting to find out who that person is, right? All right. Next question. As far as the federal government, do you consider yourself Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, and why?
I consider myself Dakota. So
Okay.
I don't I had heard that in the past, and there was some gunners talking, one of my people, and that's what they said. What are you? And the Republican, Dakota, what? Or a Democrat? He said, I'm a Dakota.
Good
Yeah.
answer. I think it's a good answer.
Okay.
Okay. Have you held an office before, and what were your accomplishments? I think you said some things earlier, but
Yeah.
maybe you can say some of the accomplishments as your representing your district.
Geez.
How long have you done that?
Um, this will be 10 years.
Oh my God.
10 years now. And
They must love you. They must love you. 10 years.
don't but there's a break in there. You do 4 years.
Oh, okay.
And then I did 4 years as my council rep starting in '07. And then I termed out and I did 2 years of secretary. And then I lost the election. Then I sat out. And then I got back in.
So you were a secretary before,
Yes.
and you want to be secretary again?
Yes. To fix
Okay.
some things. To
Okay.
fix some of those things. Some of those things that will probably get me removed. I could take a run at them again.
All right. You're brave.
All the kids need to
Right.
bring
Right.
back,
Right.
you know?
So here's another question. It's not meant to be personal. It's just somebody asked this. Have you been charged or convicted of any crimes related to tribal government? If so, what was the charge?
No,
Good. Good answer.
no.
Nice. All right. Good. Another odd question is, do they owe the SWO any monies from past loans?
Who owes them?
Do you owe the SWO any monies from past loans?
You know, if I did, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Okay, okay. As an elected official, have you accepted any SWO bonuses, severance pay, annual leave?
No,
Okay.
no. My my district voted against that, so I went with their wishes.
Right. So the person goes on to say, if so, are you aware that this is illegal for any elected federal, state, county, or municipal official?
Uh,
All right. Next question. How do you propose to reduce and get our tribe out of debt? Are we in debt?
we've always been in debt.
Right.
We've been in debt, and I don't know if we'll ever get out of it. Um, when our membership grows all the time, our membership is always growing. So I don't know if we'll ever get out because we have to have funding to try to help all members. We try to, we do what we can to try to help everybody. So I don't think we'll ever get out of debt.
Hmm.
And imagine in order to do that, for about 2 or 3 years, nobody gets anything. You just cut off everything and start paying on what we owe, That would be the only way. That would be the only way.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. All right. Next question. It has been reported by the SWO financial records that our Dakota Crossing Tribal Grocery Store has been losing $100,000 per month for the last 2 years. We have lost approximately $2 million on this for-profit tribally owned business. At this rate, do we keep the store open or admit we made a mistake and close it? And if we close it, what could the building be used for?
Um,
How do you feel about the grocery store?
to me, we made a mistake. I mean, it was good to try to do a business, but this had happened before I got into office. So in reading feasibility study and all those things, Siston was too small to have 2 stores. That's what that feasibility stated. So we shouldn't even tried the store.
Mm-hmm.
But we went ahead, and I think that was a mistake. It was a mistake, and we're always putting money into it, always. So that wasn't a good choice for us. And my district, I didn't think it was a good thing, but my district wanted us to support it. We wanted to have our own store, but it just wasn't done right. When we opened that store, we did not have anybody who knew how to run a store. If one thing we should have learned from the Washichu guys is when you do a business, you have people in place who can do it. We just don't pick somebody and say, oh, I think they'll do a good job and put them in there, and they have no clue. So that's what we did to ourselves. Yeah, we did that. And to me, it was a bad choice, and we're putting money in it all the time. And there's not enough tribal members to keep that store going. And all those Washichus they thought were going to come and go there, that's not happening. That's not happening. So we're losing on there. And if we were to close it, man, there's so many things we need. I don't know, maybe it could become a jail. Because that's one thing we really need is a jail. We don't have no jail. I think that would be because of how it's built, the type of building it is, that might be the only thing it could become,
Well, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Next question. Has to do with the DARE program. I want to know when the DARE's employee job was advertised to distribute the food.
As far as I know, it wasn't. They were picked.
Ooh, okay. There's a second part, and it says, "Why is it the same group of people that put the food together in the tribe where the biggest outbreak of COVID-19 was? How come they can't switch out different groups each week?"
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening like that. Maybe it's just for continuity. Those people know how, they know where to go, they know where they've been delivering. That's the only thing I could think of. Some of our, like my district, Veblen district, 35 miles away. Some of our members live, in the country. So what I'm thinking is these individuals been there now, know where to go. So if you put in new ones, it'll be like starting over. That's the best I could think why it's happening like that.
Okay. Yeah. How much are they getting paid with hazard pay included?
Oh, geez. There was there were different when they started. There were different wages, so I couldn't say. I'll just say over $20. I'll say it
Okay.
like that,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure it's probably even more.
All right. Is the DARES worker keeping proper track of the distribution? Because I received a small bundle when I was living in the home of 3 families, 2 in Veblen, and I'm in Big Coulee, and we got more things this last distribution. I guess
Uh,
it's about keeping track of the distribution.
yeah, I know they keep track. They do keep track. I've seen them. They have everything down on computer, But once it leaves the building, that would be the delivery when they're delivering it.
Mhm.
That's what would affect it, one getting more than the other.
Okay. All right. Here's a question about also about the food. Why are they asking so many questions when they distribute the food to the families?
Geez, that might be because of some of the regulations we have to go by, in the cares. I know they want to know how many's in the household so that we can get them the right amount that they need. And I think that would be the only thing I could think of.
All right. Good. All right. What happened after they put together all the food in the tribe and most tribal workers tested positive? What actions were taken?
Let's see. The food didn't start till after. The food didn't start till after the tribal members were tested positive. It didn't. That food program didn't start till after that. I remember we
Okay.
locked down the tribe. We locked down. We had um, skeleton crew working. I'll call it. But that delivery program that didn't happen till after we were locked down.
Okay. All right. And then here's a question. What are your priorities if elected tribal secretary?
Geez, one of the things I'd like to try to fix first would be child protection. I know there's a lot of kids out there. When I worked at tribal school, there was a lot of kids that were coming from wherever they were placed. So that would be one I'd like to see if I could fix. I'd also like each one of our programs, they all have computers. I would like each one of our programs to search for grants that pertain to their program that they write for. And that way, um, they won't be coming to the tribe asking for money. If they're getting their grants, other grants, well, that will supplement their program. Those are 2 things I could remember right off that would help. Then that way, the money coming from the casinos, that could be increased going to each district instead of having to help a program. So I remember those from the past. And all our program managers all have grant writing. We've had workshops on grant writing, but nobody has, went beyond just having the workshop. So I think those two things I would try right off to see what we can do. Because each district grows every year. Each district grows. So the amount we're getting now, it probably ain't going to go as far as it has been like 2 years ago, So, but yeah, those would be the two things right away I try to look at.
Good answer. Yeah. Your qualifications for this executive position? Probably your experience. You have 10 years, you said, as councilman, right?
I love the Oyate and I care for my people. I'm a veteran, so I look out for the people. I care for them. And my experience from the past, seeing how things work, how it goes, that's what helps qualify me. It's the care. I care for them. Because you could go to school, get the highest degree you want and not care. And that don't help the people. It's the caring.
Okay. We had a couple of questions that came in after I already sent out the questions. So, and they were both kind of the same topic, if I could just slip them in here. The first one is, what is your responsibilities and what is your plan on taking care of the elders, not only in like cards or funding, but also housing units?
That right now, that's one of the areas where we're stalled. We're stalled at. We're always looking at other areas that are hurting that we haven't got to talk about what we can do for the elders like we need to. But I know in the past they had talked about assisted living for them, but with that comes all kinds of regulations from the state, and that kind of gets in the way of the things we want to do. Certification wise, so many things. So if we were just to do a home for them, if we can get to that point, that would be good. And then after that, we look in on them. We don't need the state telling us that you need to be certified to look in after them. If you have elders in your home, you do that automatic anyway. So to try to get them housing. But my concern would be, as time goes on for them, how would we care for them when they become bedridden, when they can't get around like they used to? That would be my worry for them.
Right. That's where assisted living comes into place, right?
Yeah. But then that's where you have the state getting their hands in, getting in the way. We know how to take care of our elderly. We don't need somebody telling us. But how Washechus are, they always want to have their foot on our neck and know what we're doing.
Yeah. So I had my father was in assisted care for about 3 or 4 years, and it was very expensive. He depleted all his savings as well. So, but so I kind of know that firsthand. My mother was in a hospice. And so she had to become a ward of the state. This is in Connecticut. She had to become a ward of the state in order for the state to assume financial liability for her. So that was the only way it worked, because she didn't have enough of her own money.
Oh, my mother, she passed away at home. We kept her at home. She didn't want to go nowhere.
Oh, good.
So we up until she passed, we took care of her because she didn't want to go to any place like that. Because from her experience, Ushichu's always treated us mean, never treated us right. So she didn't want that. So she passed away at home, 100 years old.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great. But I like the idea of perhaps having an assisted living housing for elders.
yeah. We tried that in the past. We tried that. That cost was like 4,000 a month, and no, none of us, the quotas here, can afford 4,000 a month.
And that's true. That's true. Yeah. For my father, it was nearly 3,000 a month.
Yeah,
And he was relatively healthy, but he needed some assistance with some things. And so
yeah,
it's just incredibly cost prohibitive. And in outside of the reservation, it is the families or the individual who has to pay that 3,000. There may be supplemental programs for that through Social Security or insurance programs, but I don't know how it would get funded through the tribe, that $3,000 to $4,000 figure per month. So I can see where you're absolutely right. It does cost a lot of money to keep people
yeah,
in assisted care.
yeah. So if we get smart and we don't use the term assisted living, Shichus always use words. That's what I've noticed. So if we leave off the assisted living and just call it elderly home, elderly housing, whatever, we should be able to help.
It would be a start.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. All right. Very good. So that question came from Shannon. JR, is there anything else you want to add? Any final note?
Oh, I just want my relatives out there to know I could take care of you. So I hope you support me. I have support. I could do it. I'd do it so good they'd remove me because I know how it works. I know how it works here. And that's what would probably happen to me. But I could do it. I know I could do it.
Yeah. I had a client, I'm sorry, I had a candidate on last week, and he was telling me that this week there was supposed to be a report on the casinos and how they were operating. Did they have one?
Uh, yes, they came in. They came in trying refilling all our coffers that we depleted when COVID hit to help members. They're filling them back up, which is compact, gaming compact, everything that we took, we had to put back.
Right.
So for a while there, we were out of compliance with our Shakopee loan, but we're getting back. We're coming back.
Yeah.
So that's where that's at. We're trying to do as much as we can because we're not open like we used to be. We're not open like that anymore. They got a distancing and all that. So it's not like it was before. But
Oh,
they're doing the best they can.
yeah. Yeah, and it's not likely to get better anytime soon.
No.
So, yeah.
So instead of running along, we got to limp along. Because it's the way it turned out with this COVID, and we're not running like we used to be. So we got to limp, but we'll make it. It's just that it's not going to be quick like we used to. It's going to take a little time.
Right. Are the casinos operating at around 20 to 30% or more?
It's hard. It's really hard to tell. They're not. I think they close on midnight during the week, and then on the weekend they're open 24 hours. So it's kind of hard to tell. But I'd be close if I said around 40%. running when it's open.
That's
And
not
then
too bad. Could be
people
worse.
people still worried about COVID, so even though we are taking precautions that protecting them, still leery, people are still leery.
Right. So I had a candidate on last week, and we were talking about the elderly money, and I was asking him when he felt that that would get started up again. How do you feel?
Once we take care of all these other obligations that we depleted, we could go back to that. But we got to fill back up what we emptied, so that we're in compliance with the things that we took.
So that's kind of a priority for 2020, huh? That to just put it all back, and then maybe 2021.
No, it just depends on how many are going to the casino when we can start back up taking care of the elderly like we were. But like I said, they're not going in like they used to, where our casinos were running 24 hours and there were people there all the time. It's not like that now. It's not like that. And then when they're down, they're cleaning them. But
Right.
it's just not like before.
Yeah. How do you feel about mask use? Do you wear a mask yourself, or do you when you go to public places?
Yep. We wear masks in our district, our council meetings, at our district meetings.
Right.
Wherever we go, we wear them because we don't know where an individual's been, We don't know where they've been, so we got to do that too.
Right. Okay. Well, JR, thank you very much for coming for your time tonight and coming to answer our questions for our group. We have, like I said earlier, we have about 1,200 members, and at some point they will all, be because we're recording this chat, they will be able to watch it later. Those that can't join right now. So thank you for doing that.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Even though we had trouble trying to connect, we made it though.
Yeah, it started a little late, but better late than never, right?
Oh, I didn't have the right numbers. Shannon got me the right numbers.
Okay.
So,
Well, you have a good night. It was nice meeting you.
you too, Jim. Take care.
All right, JR. I'll see you next time I come there to South Dakota.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Take care. Bye.